For the past 11 years, Roland Sawatzky has been bringing the stories of the Russian Mennonites to life as the Senior Curator at the Mennonite Heritage Village and Museum. Sawatzky recently accepted a position as the Curator of History at the Manitoba Museum and has made the difficult decision to step away from his role at the MHV.
This is really where I cut my teeth in the museum world. It's where my research has been concentrated since early 2000s. The research was on Mennonite house barns and, in fact, how families lived in those houses, how the architecture changed over time and how that reflected changing family values and social values. What I'm interested in is the real stuff of life. What you have often in books or in museum collections is interpretations of that later on. What comes into a museum collection is often what people keep in their house, family heirlooms. But that doesn't necessarily represent all the aspects of life, and that's what you find in an archaeological site. And I was really looking at the differences between Mennonite households. What are the status differences? We have this idea that Mennonite villages were very egalitarian, and to a great degree they were, but within that setting, there were still people that were competing with each other and showing off, and this really affected the dynamics of villages. Big thing was the ceramics and the linens. So if you were a wealthier Mennonite family, you would have a lot of porcelain, and it would be on display in a special glass cupboard. If you were a poorer Mennonite family, you would have, cheap utilitarian ware in your house, and not too much that would be special. You might get a few things as gifts. And then linens as well. Certainly that you were kind of showing off with the kind of embroidery and lace work that you could do, the crocheting, and this would be on display in your house. Poor family wouldn't necessarily have as much of that because they wouldn't have the time to work on it.
It would be difficult to miss Sawatzky's passion for the artifacts in the museum's collection. He explains that even the most mundane items tell a fascinating story.
Each one holds the story of a real life. They're individual stories about individual lives that together weave this larger narrative about our history. And they're the real objects that are held by real people. So it's a very immediate experience when people see them. And that's something you can't replace with anything else. Virtual can't do it. Paper can't do it. You have to see the object itself to get that feeling.
Executive Director Barry Dick says that with all of the talent, knowledge, and passion for Mennonite history Sawatzky possesses, it wasn't necessarily a surprise that he would receive opportunity for career advancement with another institution. However, he does say that Sawatzky's absence from the MHV will be felt by staff and patrons alike.
We are an organization that deals primarily and largely with history. That's our mission here. And so Roland has wonderfully kept us on track with dealing with the stories of the Mennonite people coming from Russia to Canada. And of course the other thing that Roland brings is a wonderful congenial personality and great communication skills. And many people have told us how much they have enjoyed touring the facility with him. He has always provided just a very phenomenally interesting tour when people have come to visit.
Dick says there has been a lot of outside interest in Sawatzky's soon-to-be vacant position.
There's actually a lot of people looking for work in this particular profession. We have received a lot of applications for the position. There are not a lot of people out there who know Mennonite history to the extent that we need it here, that we need that knowledge here. I don't think there's another Roland out there, but surely there's somebody out there who will do a wonderful job for us in the curatorial area.
Although Sawatzky is eager to take on the challenge of his new job, he admits that moving on will be bittersweet as he reflects on the past 11 years spent at the Mennonite Heritage Village and Museum.
It's meant everything to me in terms of my career, certainly. I've been honored to be the steward of these objects for the Mennonite community and for Steinbach. I have learned a lot about Mennonite life and Mennonite history in terms of my career, But I've also learned a lot about myself because I come from a Mennonite background, and so it means I've learned about my parents and my grandparents. My wife and I talked about how we can stay involved here in some way, perhaps through volunteering, perhaps helping with some research here and there. Certainly a lot of the materials that I've excavated over the years are still here, and so I'll be referring to them. But yeah, I'll miss it.
For Steinbach Online, I'm Karen Black.